staff members from the High School of Law Enforcement and Criminal Justice on their different points of views of immigration.
How do you feel about immigration in the U.S.?
I generally think it's a good thing. Everyone's ancestors were immigrants unless they're descended from Native Americans.
Do you know any HISD immigration policies?
I know that we're not supposed to identify legal or illegal immigrants to ICE, and ICE isn't allowed on campus, for example.
So if ICE was outside a building, would you allow them to come in to detain a student or no?
We're not supposed to do that, and I certainly wouldn't do that.
Do you know anyone that has came here illegally?
Illegally?
Yeah.
I'm sure I do, but I don't know.
And how do you feel about that?
Doesn't bother me.
If you had any power to change the situation immigrants are going through today, what would you do?
I would release the immigrants from the detention centers and help them settle somewhere in the United States. Most of the people in the detention centers aren't even illegal immigrants because they're claiming refugee status, and until and unless their refugee status has been denied, they aren't here legally or illegally. That's a determination for a judge to make. It's not up to the president. It's not up to ICE to make that determination.
So you do not agree with the way immigration is handling?
No, I don't agree with anything the Trump administration has done about anything, more or less. But especially not immigration.
So how do you feel about families being separated or torn apart in the border?
I'm against it.
What are your thoughts on the new candidates running for president?
I support Bernie or Elizabeth Warren, nobody else.
How do you feel about immigration in the U.S.?
I don't know. I'm really torn about this issue because, I believe in following the rules. I'm a rule follower in my heart, but something is wrong with our system. And I don't think they're currently meshing up with my idea about this and my idea about this. So I'm in a weird spot about how I feel about immigration in the United States.
And do you know any HISD immigration school policies?
Oh, I know that it's kind of like a don't ask, don't tell thing, right? Mm-hmm. If I know that one of the students is an illegal immigrant, I'm not allowed to say. And the school HISD will always protect its students, number one. And so for that's the rule I know about it. Don't say anything. And for that reason, I try not to ever find out. Because, it's not my business anyway. I'm here to teach whoever is here. And I don't care where you came from. If you're here in the classroom, it's my job to do my job.
Do you have any friends, relatives, or just anyone in general that that has came here illegally?
Illegally?
Yes.
No. Legally, yes, and I know it costs a lot of money and it's very time consuming. And so I understand why people would say, actually, no, I'm not going to pay that and do that. But, yeah.
How do you feel about people coming here illegally?
I don't know. Like I told you guys, I'm in a weird spot because I believe in following the rules, right? It's one of the reasons why I'm a teacher because, I believe it's important that we follow rules and do the right things. But not everybody feels that way, and the government probably should do something about it, but they're not really. So for that reason, I guess it's not my business. It is my business, but I don't know what to do about it.
Now, if you did have the power to do so, what would you change about the situation they go through?
I think it's real mean what happens to those people at the border, and I feel like that part, whatever it is, I listened to something on the radio this morning. They were talking about how the people from Mexico, they come to the border and then they get whisked off to a tent where they're having immigration hearings at the border in a tent. What? This is crazy. I feel like there should be, I guess it's going to be quick. But the people on the news were saying, it's not fair because then the lawyers that were there to represent the illegal immigrants don't have time to talk to them before they go to this trial, which is going to decide their whole future. And that I don't think is fair. So there's some things down there that need to change. I don't know what. It's a big fat mess. But we got to do right by the people who are trying to come to this country. But we also have to do right by the people who are here already, who came here in a way that was rule following. I don't know. That's tricky. This is a tricky one.
Yeah. So also, look, this is probably trickier too.
Oh.
So do you agree or disagree on the way the system is handling immigration?
The system needs to change. There's definitely a wrong thing. I think it's going to be hard to pinpoint now because there's been so many changes to the policies and what to do and what not to do. Because even this tent thing I was telling you about, apparently that's new. That's a new thing. They were just talking about it in the news maybe in the past month or something. It's like they don't know what to do, and these people don't know what to do, and something has to change. But I think nobody knows what to do about it. And I think our goal for the future is to find someone who knows what to do and let them do it in a way that's fair to everyone.
So, about the trials, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about some families being torn apart?
This hurts my whole heart, That hurts my whole heart. Done.
What are your thoughts on the new candidates running for president?
I haven't decided what I think about them. They all have a different idea about what to do, and I'll need to do more research before I can say for sure which one I like the best.
How do you feel about immigration in the United States?
I think they should come in legally, not illegally. But I think if they are seeking asylum, they should be granted their day in court.
So also, you are a teacher for HISD. So do you know any HISD immigration school policies?
No, I don't.
Okay, so the next question, because you don't. Would you let an ICE agent inside the building to detain a student?
I wouldn't, but I would go ask to see if we're allowed to let them in. I just wouldn't let them in. They have to go through the front door like everybody else.
Yes, sir. Do you know any person personally that has came here illegally?
No, I do not.
And how do you feel about people coming here illegally?
Like I said, I think they should follow the correct channels. I mean, we allow millions every year. They can get in line just like everybody else.
If you had the power to do so, what would you change about the situation immigrants go through today?
I would speed up the process of them getting their day in court or whatever they need to get their legal status.
Do you agree or disagree with the way the immigration system is being handled?
Disagree because it's taking too long.
How do you feel about families being torn apart in the border?
I'm not for it, but I see that it can happen because they are coming across illegally. And if they'd come across legally, it probably wouldn't happen.
What are your thoughts on the new candidates running for president?
I'm not for the Democrats because of their new Green Deal or whatever. I'm not for that. And I only know one Republican running, and he seems to be doing a pretty good job. Our economy's better. I'm getting paid more, less taxes. So hard to beat.
Immigration in the United States.
I cannot comment on that, being on the visas process and immigration and everything. I cannot comment on that.
Okay. So do you know any HISD immigration school policies?
They have a lot of immigration policy. They have in place, a lot of them.
What is
Like-
one that you do know?
What is that which I know is, as long as the principal ready to sponsor for the visa, they are going to do it. HISD is nothing to do with the sponsorship at all. Only the school has to pay it, pay all the money and everything. If the principal says yes, then the district says yeah. If the principal says yes, I need the teacher for a longer period of time in my school, then the HISD get to start the green card process.
And do you know anyone that has came here illegally?
Illegally? Never. No, I don't know. So,
How do you feel about people coming here illegally?
They're good, they're educated. Legally, those who are coming legally, they are educated and they pay all their taxes and everything on time and everything, but nothing is done for them. so far. So
How do you feel about the ones that are coming here illegally? Like,
I have no idea. Legally.
okay, so if you had the power to do so, what would you change about the situation immigrants go through today?
okay, if I have the power, like I got the power now. If you are legally entered the country, we are talking only about the immigration base. This is my point of view, nothing to do with anybody. So if you think that legally you have entered the country and you're paying your taxes for about like 8 years or 10 years, then you must be eligible for getting your green card, because we are contributing towards the economy without even anything, expecting something at the end of after 10 years or after 8 years. Like me, I came here like 2008 and 2019. Like for the 11 years I've been paying all my taxes and everything. Still, I'm in the line of getting my green card. I don't know when I'm going to end up in getting my green card. So if I have the power, I will change it. Oh, 8 years, you've been done paying your taxes, here is your green card. That's what I want to change.
And do you agree with the way the immigration system is being handled?
Agree and disagree, I cannot comment on that, but agree in the sense because since we are legally here, we are doing all your paperwork every year, so far we don't have no problem. But from the illegal side, if they come in, and I don't know how do they do their paperwork, I don't know.
How do you feel about families being torn apart in the border?
That's terrible. Especially kids are being separated from their parents. No, I totally against it.
The last question is, what are your thoughts on the new candidates running for president?
It must change. I want to have the girl power. I really want to see the girl power. And that's it.
How do you feel about immigration in the United States?
So I feel like the United States is really failing people who want to come to this country in some of the most inhumane ways I think I've ever seen it. I think immigration should be a lot more open than what it is, and the citizenship process should be easier. The questions they ask on the citizenship test are things that people who are born in America can't even answer. There was a question up until a few months ago that was like, are you a citizen? Was a question, and if you got it wrong, you could have your test thrown out. And it's appalling to me that people who want to make a better life for themselves are being locked up and treated like they're not even people, not given their basic rights as human beings. It's appalling, it's sickening. I think we can and should do better.
Do you know anyone that has came here illegally?
Because
To United States.
United States? Probably, yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Honestly, indifferent, if that makes sense. Like, I don't mean it like I'm indifferent, like I don't care, but I don't mind. Why would I be upset? The people that I know are good people who just want to lead good lives.
If you had the power to do so, what would you change about the situation immigrants go through?
I want to say everything that I think is that a viable answer?
Yes.
Because I really want people who are immigrating to feel welcomed and to be welcomed. Not just feel welcomed, be welcomed. And for there to be humane treatment, faster processing, lawyers available, no more of these essentially detention camps that ICE has set up. Detaining kids and separating kids from their parents is just wrong. I want to get rid of all of that and put in new policies that allow people to come more freely and allow people who are in the country already to be safe and not have to live in fear of, like, what if they find out.
How do you feel about immigration in the United States?
Oh, immigration. I think it's very unfair. I feel very strongly that immigrants are being treated very poorly, and if it weren't for immigrants, there wouldn't be any houses. We wouldn't have food on our plates.
Do you know any HISD immigration school policies?
No, I don't think. No, we accept everybody in HISD, regardless. I mean, there's several people here that are illegal that come to this school. So no, we don't have a policy about not taking illegals.
Do you know anyone that has came here illegally?
Yeah, there's students, but I'm not going to give names.
How do you feel about that?
I don't have a problem with that. Well, again, this country is based on immigrants. My family, I'm sure your family, they were all immigrants. My parents came here legally, but I mean, because it was very easy at that time in the 1950s to come here legally. So I just feel that a lot of people that come here is out of desperation. They're escaping war, gangs, they're escaping poverty. So they're doing it out of desperation, not because, oh, it's an adventure to go to the United States, and I should say.
How do you feel about families being torn apart in the border?
That's really bad. That's really bad because some of them are being separated for years, and I don't wish that on anyone. That's traumatic for a child, and that's something that years of therapy will never cure.
Do you agree with the way the immigration system is being handled?
No, it's being done very poorly.
If you had the power to change something in the immigration system, what would you do?
There has to be a way of letting immigrants at least stay here legally, even if it's temporary, but there has to be an easier way. The problem is that we're just labeling people, and they shouldn't really be labeled. I mean, well, immigrants is, I guess, fine, but there should be another word for that. Temporary workers or something like that.
What are your thoughts on the new candidates running for president?
The new candidates, I like Elizabeth Warren. I think she's fair, and I think we need a woman. I think men have basically done an awful job. Well, Obama wasn't bad, but I'm saying that we need, I think, a woman, because it's different when women are mothers. They know, they treasure, I think, life better than men do. So I think we're ready for a woman. I was very disappointed that Hillary didn't get elected. So I think we need to give another woman the opportunity, like Elizabeth Warren.
How do you feel about people coming here illegally?
Thank you. So that would be illegal immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I think it depends what, where they're coming from. Because illegal starts with the word illegal immigration, right? There's some people that want to come to our country that live in countries that possibly are functioning well, right? And we know that doing anything illegal is not good. Also, I would want to ask if I know we've had recently a caravan of people try to get through. It's caused a lot of distress. They're having to deal with being held up in certain areas down by the border towns. I don't necessarily have an opinion either way. Now, this is almost like as trivial as abortion.
Well, the next one is, do you know any HIZ immigration school policies?
So I do, and this is supported by the superintendent, because we do have people that prior to the school year starting were sharing that there were certain families, I think it was shortly after they were announcing that they were going to do ICE raids, there were certain families that were going to be hesitant or, let's say, afraid in sending their kids to school for fear that something may happen. And the superintendent assured us and the community, I think she did something televised as well, short, that their students are safe at our schools. We do welcome all students. We do not require for them to have come with legal status. If there is an illegal immigrant that is in our country or in our district here and they wish to enroll, they can.
And do you know anyone personally or just in general that has came here illegally in the United States?
I do not. I do have in-laws that are from Matamoros. They came here legally and then did become U.S. citizens.
So how do you feel about immigrants coming here illegally?
So I think that, people have to do what they need to do to survive. My only concern would be their need for our resources and money and assistance for food and for living, and maybe sometimes a little bit of a strain that's put on that area. And so looking into, I guess not allowing that to be endless and trying to help people. So if we're going to help them and allow them and give them services, we definitely need to also help them in becoming legal if they do choose to stay here. So possibly the U.S. could do a little bit more instead of fighting it, doing what they can to help these people be successful and be participants in our society and in our government and in our taxes and income and all of that.
What are your thoughts about families being torn apart in the border?
I don't think it's correct. It's really difficult to watch scenes of a small, let's say 2-3-year-old or even, young teenager be pulled apart from the only person that makes them feel safe. If I can think of why the government finds the need to do that, they're just trying to stick to the black and white of the law. And maybe they feel that by saying that they're going to do it, they have to follow through in an attempt to deter people from coming. Maybe they think if they say they're going to do that, it'll stop people from coming. But clearly it has not. And I think it's caused more stress than anything else. We've even had some children die because, they're not with their adult parents and they don't realize that they're sick. So I don't think the separation is a good idea.
If you had the power to do so, what would you change about the situations immigrants go through today?
I think I would definitely put more funding into that area of the government as far as the processing is concerned. And that would help minimize, the wait that some people were taking, 30 days or more, staying in some of these camps, because that's kind of what they look like. So it's not going to stop. Illegal immigration will always be something. And I think instead of continuing to try to create laws to stop it, we need to find a way to better manage it, right? And so whether, again, that comes through processing, setting up systems, how do we help you become legal, that may be more where funding needs to go to.
What are your thoughts on the new candidates running for president?
I actually have not followed them very much. And my husband says I'm mostly Democratic, but I do have some views that are Republican, so I don't necessarily identify with that I'm going to pick one party or the other. For me, it's more listening to what the candidates have to say and determining whether or not their views fit with mine.